Today we're going to look at this concept of opposites. I call it the law of opposites. The whole idea is that if you want to get a forward pull, well, then you push. If you wanted to create a backward motion, then you pull. So pull and push when pulled. If I want to snap someone down, get a forward, push them first so that they push back in. If they circle around, cut them off at the straight line. If they head straight, circle out of the way. So the whole idea of the opposites is that we're looking for the opposite action to it. And it's a very, very powerful concept which we can play with. We'll show you a few examples of that. But anyway, welcome guys. Thanks for coming along. This concept, it's almost like in Aikido, they have what they call irimi and tenkan. Irimi, tenkan. Tenkan means to turn a circle. Irimi means to enter. So they had the similar thing when they would create the circle motion and then head in with a straight line. And you see, it's a classic Aikido thing. So as Mitch comes in with a punch, boom, I turn and I create this concept of the turning. That's tenkan. Punch comes, 1, 2. See, I use his elbow joint and then come back to create that throw. Irimi, entry, is a little different. Entry is punch comes, I turn and then crack. I do a stiff arm tackle right across the face. Once again, punch comes, block, bang. There's your stiff arm tackle right across the face. If you want to be nice to the guy, you don't go across the throat, you cross face and control this way there. Okay. So that's the first concept of irimi and tenkan. The next thing is, if we want to get control of someone here, I need to get inside. So if we both have a collar tie on, so I'm going to come inside and get control of the inside space. The danger here, of course, is going to headbutt me. Boom. Okay, so I need to make sure that this elbow is engaged. So now when he tries to headbutt, that elbow blocks. It's one of those invisible things that if you're not aware of, it won't work. You see guys do a collar tie and go, yeah, collar ties are good. Then he goes crack and headbutts me. Okay? To avoid that, the whole key to a good collar tie is the heavy elbow. So now when he headbutts, boom, he has nothing. And what you can do there is he's pushing now. So that's when you can use the pull action against that push from the headbutt. Okay? So we're in here like this. I have inside control. If I want to get him and start to pull him into me, the first thing I do is I push him away. And as he pushes back, that's when I get the forward momentum that I need. If I do it from a zero position, of course, I'm just pulling, he's going to pull back. So he naturally will use the same thing. So what we do is to create that control to get him forward, I'm going to push with this elbow here, that elbow. I'm going to push him forward. And as he reacts by coming back in, see how he's pushing back in? I don't have to do that. I push with the elbow, and then boom, I can pull him in like that. Okay, from there, you can drive the knee up, elbow up, or snap him in to a guillotine choke. They're all possibilities based on the push-pull concept. The other thing, too, is as he attacks in a straight line, I turn the circle. Okay? If he attacks in a straight line and I defend in a straight line, I end up over in Main Beach, which is the next suburb about 1 kilometre away, because either that or I hit the wall. Okay? On the other hand, if as he attacks in a straight line, I turn the circle, then I'm able to go out of what we call the dead zone. Other people call it other things. I call it the dead zone because it's an easy mnemonic. If I'm in that zone, I'm dead. That's where he wants me. What I want is as he attacks, I turn the circle. Now he's still in my dead zone, but I'm not in his. His dead zone is heading over there. So I can hit here, bang, and if I want, cross face and take him down to the ground. Because I've turned that circle as he's come in, I've turned the circle there. If he's starting to circle around, boom, I'm going to cut him off by a straight line straight away. So a lot of guys will dance and they'll move around like this, and as they move in a circle, just cut them with a straight line. So as they circle now, boom, I'm just going to cut across with a straight line, which is in ring sports, kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, even MMA, they have a thing called ring generalship. And ring generalship can be the difference between winning a fight and not winning a fight, simply based on your control of the ring. To keep him on the outside of the ring, as he circles around, I cut across in a straight line. If he attacks in a straight line, I'm going to circle off. If he starts to move around the circle, I'm going to cut straight across with a straight line. If I want to get a reaction to pull him down, I'm going to push him forward. And when I push him forward, he will naturally, unconsciously push back. If he doesn't, he falls over. Okay, so it's a natural thing to push back against being pushed. So if I want to get him to come forward, I push. His natural reaction to come forward. And then I can use that momentum to pull him myself. The same thing can happen. For example, if we've gone into range 4 and I want to get control of his legs, if I go for the legs, he takes the legs back. Okay? So what I'll do is I'll come in here. I have this elbow on the chest. Why? Because I don't want him to headbutt me. If he headbutts, I have that elbow there to block it. There like that. I can even slip it up with an elbow there, elbow here. Or I can just do nothing but control that collar. Now I want to get his legs. So I can't afford him getting his legs back. What I need is get his head back. So I start to pull his head down, and his natural reaction will be to bring his head up. Okay? When he brings his head up, boom, that exposes his leg. Either a single leg like that, or boom, a double leg. To get access to the legs, I need to get his head back. If you didn't need this concept of opposites, if you didn't need deception, then what would happen is every single fight in the history of the world, if there is no need for deception, if there is no value in deception, every fight would be over in a single punch. But the reason fights go on and on and on, because fighters are sneaky.
The art of sneakiness.
The art of sneakiness, that's what it is. And the concept of sneakiness is simply to redirect their attention to somewhere where you don't want it. And that's the art of opposites. If I want them to get their energy going back, I pull their energy forward. If I want their energy forward, I'm going to push them back. And you use that to your advantage. I'm interested to hear what people have to say about that, especially Sensei Mike. I'm quite sure that there's somewhere in the traditions of Okinawa karate, there'd be this concept of, in Japanese, you call it oshi hiki, or pushy and pull. Yes, and that's the perfect underlying idea of goju karate, go hard and ju soft, understanding the opposites. So that idea of opposites is really worth playing with. And I just want to show you, as we talk about it, just give you a couple of ideas. And we were looking at this, Mitch and I just finished training.
I was going to say that, just to jump in, today we were working on this from the collar tie, the position you just showed. And it's one thing to know it, the concept, but it's another thing to time it well, to execute it well. And I understand the concept, but I need a lot of time on the execution of it and the timing of it and the feel of it. It's,
as we all do.
Yeah.
A good concept to remember too is the spinal chain is very strong. And this is the one thing when you start to talk about collar ties. You see, sometimes, I remember I used to teach football tackling, and we'd get the strength and conditioning coaches who'd watch half a dozen sessions, and then they'd say, we don't need you anymore. Yeah. And the players would go, I don't know what's going on, but this is a mess. Because, see, you can watch, one thing to see it, but it's another thing to feel it. Like Benny the Jet says, seeing's not believing, feeling is. Okay? So it's the same with a lot of these principles. For example, collar tie. Okay? And we have what we call a snap down. And a snap down is where I'm going to snap the head down. Okay? No, I tricked you. That's not the case at all. A snap down is nothing to do with snapping the head down. A snap down is everything to do with snapping the body down. Okay? So a good Masayama used to call it superior airspace. He used Air Force terminology, keeping in mind that he was drawn to the Air Force before World War II ended. So he called it dominant airspace or superior airspace. And by that he meant this area here, you have to be in control. Okay? If he's in control of my space, I'm in trouble. If I'm in control of his space, he's in trouble. So the whole idea is universal in most fighting systems. I need to get control of the inside space. It's easy to see if his arm, or if he throws a punch around in a circle, if I'm covering on the inside space, I have dominance. Okay? If he comes on the inside and threads that needle, and now he has dominance. So here we are with the collar tie. Okay? Then I have the inside space. I have control of his tricep here. Now we practiced a drill today, which I'll try to step back and include the footwork because I think it's really valuable to do. But the footwork is simply this sort of motion. 1, 2. So here's a good point. Power comes from where in the body? Obviously, nothing works if you're not rooted to the ground. Okay? And you know that to be so because if you jump in a swimming pool and take your feet off the bottom and throw a punch, Newton's third law, every action has an opposite and equal reaction, will come into play. And the harder you throw the punch, the more the bottom half of your body moves. So power is dependent on how much you're rooted to the ground. That's the first thing. But now when we look at the whole concept of power in the body, we know that generally the power is from the hips and the core. This is where our strength is. When you carry something heavy, you carry it here. Okay? Speed comes from the chest. And you know that to be so because you look at the fastest runners in the Olympics, namely the sprinters, and they don't start the sprint with their chest back. On your mark. It's like this. What they do is they get as far over with the sprint start as they can, so that all they do is take their hands off and let gravity do the work. So speed comes from the chest, but rotational speed comes from the shoulder. So if I want to move powerfully, I move my hips. If I want to move fast, I move my chest. If I want to move rotation, I move my shoulder. And if you practice that yourself, you'll be surprised how quick it makes you move because at the start, your shoulder rotation will move you so quick, you'll overbake it and you'll go too fast. So I always say that you temper it with the power of your hip. So when you rotate, now when I move, instead of just thinking power, speed with my shoulder, I'm also going to control it with my hook. I overbaked it. Control it with your hip there so that when you get that position, you may be able to maintain your balance. Okay? That's the whole idea of rotational speed. So we're in this situation, and the footwork is basically this. 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. There, rotate around. There, rotate around. So what we have here is the foot come back, speed off my chest, rotational force off my shoulder. Okay, opposite direction. 1 here, speed by moving my shoulder and chest forward, rotational force off the shoulders. Okay, now we combine that when we have superior airspace with control of my partner. So I'm here now. I have the arm here. I want to move him. So what I do is I step off and I drag, and there it is. Now, as he straightens up, I'm going to come around here so you see. As he starts to fix it, I switch. See, I've gone left hand on his bicep, right hand on collar tie. Now, and especially if he starts to headbutt me, I'm going to push that to the other side. Now it's a left hand collar tie, right hand on the inside control of the bicep and tricep. Okay, now I want to switch and turn in this way. So my foot comes back, my foot goes forward, and I use rotational force off my shoulder. There like that. Why would you keep doing this? It gives you the ability to manipulate your partner's balance. Okay, so right now, his strength is on that. Okay, if I turn, take him to the back, he starts to fall. As he fixes that, he fixes his posture up, boom, I'm going to switch. There like that. I'm going to step back, create a void. If I'm attacking this leg, okay, I need it to be forward. If I want to attack this leg, it's too far back. So to get him to bring it forward, I step away from the leg. That's another rule of opposites. To get the leg, I step away from the leg. To get the leg, I step away from the leg. Why? Because if I step to the leg, it's too far back. That split second extra you need to reach for the back leg is just too much. Okay, so what I do is I'll get the collar tie, I'll create a void, a space here. Look, as I step back, his leg comes forward, he's just giving me that leg. What we're doing here now is I want to show you how you can use this simple principle to get a snap down. To get a snap down properly, I need to get a reaction. If I snap him down, he's going to engage his whole core and I have zero chance of breaking his posture. So what I do is I'll step off, go circular, push. And his reaction to being pushed is he'll come forward, and as he pushes forward, I step this leg back, create a void, and pull him down. Okay? So all that, we'll step back in. All that in this situation. I'm going to pull. In this, I want to pull. So I get a push. As he pushes forward, boom, I pull down like that. I want to pull his head down. Here's the other interesting thing is snap down from the head is more about breaking the posture of his body. So I need to pull here more than I need to pull here. So I'm going to push to get that forward reaction. As he pushes forward, I'm going to create a void and pull. There's my pull down there like that. From there, I can push down and start to enter into chokes and things like that. So that's a good little fun drill to introduce to your karate students who may never have been in this situation where they're trying to control someone on the inside. Okay, if he gets a collar tie on me, I need to just come in and take this position. He gets the collar tie, I'm going to come in, get the collar tie off, push back to create a reaction, create a void, and snap down like that. Now, for the fun drill, I simply think like a steering wheel. So I'm here like this. I'm going to go there and pull down. Now, his posture's broken, so he will naturally fix it up. When he fixes it, I switch hands to here. Now, I create the void this side, step around, pull down. His posture is broken. He fixes it up. I switch hands. Boom. It's not unlike a good dirty boxing drill, which Randy Couture taught me. From here like this, good collar tie, bang, bang. He's not going to stay there all day. Eventually, he'll want to, yes. In which case, I come collar tie with the other hand, bang, bang, boom. And then I keep switching. My left hand collar tie, right hand is punching, and he'll switch. Now my right hand collar tie, left hand is punching. Boom, bang, 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 bang. And every time he switches to try and deal with it, if he keeps going that way, I keep punching that way. So he'll naturally want to come back in there. Boom. And then I incorporate my other collar tie to the opposite side. Bang, 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 like that. He turns around, boom. Sometimes he'll try and headbutt me. When he tries to headbutt, I simply, you never reach up with two hands. You reach up with one and push it to the side. If he headbutts me, boom, I simply do that, bang, bang. And always control the headbutt with the heavy elbow on the chest.
That's a really heavy elbow. Just for people watching, it's very challenging to deal with.
That's just a really nice little drill you can play with to help you understand, first of all, Masoyama's concept of dominant or superior airspace, okay, which is talking about the inside control, and also the concept of opposites. If I want to get a good downwards pulling motion, I push in the opposite direction first and then pull them down. Like Benny the Jet used to say, seeing is not believing, feeling is, and that's Benny all the way through. So anyway, that's a really nice drill that you can work. We'll show you once more before the end, just so you understand the drill in a gentle way. Remember, when you drill this stuff, you start with zero non-compliance and you gradually build the degree of non-compliance so it becomes realistic. The problem with a lot of dojos is that they never get to that point where they increase the degree of non-compliance. And the problem with that, of course, is that under pressure, it's not going to happen. Now, I also have something that I wanted to share with you, and I know some people are onto it, and I mentioned it last week, I'm certain. But here's a link to Nick Hughes's books. Where's Dwayne? Now, Nick Hughes is a good lad, one of the old Brisbane boys, and I've spent a lot of years training with a lot of mutual friends. I've only met and sat down with Nick once or twice, but absolutely, one of the best in the world. In his book, How to Be Your Own Bodyguard, I've recommended it for years, but he's just released the 3rd edition, new, updated with some great information. Make sure you follow that link and grab a copy, because it's cheap as chips on Kindle. It's actually cheap as chips hard copy as well, right? You ordered a hard copy.
I ordered a hard copy, yeah.
I've ordered a bunch of soft copies of Kindles to give to family and friends. Now, the reason I like it is if you're a martial artist, it will jog you into a sense of reality, because a lot of the martial arts training we do is often done without a real sense of reality, especially if your training is geared towards sports or fitness and health. Nothing wrong with that. As Unko Itosu pointed out 100 years ago, there's training for health and fitness and training for real fighting. Just be sure you know which one you're training for. Okay, Nick's book. Mitch will write a book one day, I'm sure. Nick's book, How to Be Your Own Bodyguard, is highly recommended for martial artists because it will jog you into a sense of reality. It's also really valuable for non-martial artists. Okay, so anyway, I got my copy and I recommend it to everybody. Of course, we all appreciate the impacts you endure during demos, Mitch. Very educational. Have 2 people demonstrate these drills. Yeah, it's really important. So just finally, I just want to show you that drill once more. If you've got some comments, please feel free to leave them. Any complaints, rationalizations, justifications, whines, moans, complaints, go right ahead. We don't mind, because we'll use that for our next live stream. Now, watching the footwork first. We'll do it together. So we go left foot forward. We're just going to simply come back, go forward, shoulder rotation, step back. Okay, that's the first one. Because the left foot is forward, now what we can do is we can either split or just step forward and then from that position rotate around. Okay, now let's look at that. We're going to come here, back to here. Let's come back so our heads aren't chopped off. Beautiful. Okay, so we start off with a fighting stance. There, we come back, slip off, rotate. Good. Okay, now let's come back, right foot forward. You've got the arm, you've got the head, you're going to rotate around. Now our left foot's forward, our left foot's back, so we're going to take our right foot back and go left foot forward. Switch hands, left collar tie. Left foot is forward, left hand is collar tie. And we've created a space here, so we're going to rotate around. As we switch, foot comes back, right foot is going forward, so it means the right hand on the bicep is going to the collar tie. This hand is switching and you rotate. Okay, let's look at that with 2 people now. We're in this situation. I have the hand on the bicep. I want to pull him here and turn him that way, so it means I'm going to come and create a void here. As I do that, the steering wheel effect goes over there. Okay, turn to there. As he straightens up, I switch hands. Because my left hand is up, my left foot is going to stay forward, and I have dominant inside control of his bicep. All right, my elbow is heavy on the chest because I don't want him to headbutt me. Boom. Okay, I want to keep my elbow there so when he headbutts me, boom, I can take it past. Or what I can do is as he headbutts me, he can run into my elbow. Bang, like that. All right, left collar tie, left leg forward, inside control. Now I'm doing the steering wheel that way, so I'm going to use my shoulder rotation there. Boom. Good, but he's not going to stay there forever. He's going to straighten up. So as I switch to here, See my feet? 1, 2, and I rotate again. Boom, he switches up, straightens up, boom. I lead this foot back, I create an even bigger void, pull the inside, pull there, around. And around there, I'm moving here, around there, I move here. Inside dominant, air superiority, I have control of the inside. I can even put my head in the dominant head position, right there. That's not dominant head position. Who has dominant head here? Mitch does, because he's looking at my spine. If I want dominant head position, I need to be looking at his spine. Okay, from there, I simply pull my head away, use this, and rotate around there. Switch. I can go dominant head again. Notice that I can come dominant head. If he comes dominant head, I can use my elbow to redirect it and then come back to here, around there, like that. Okay? Thanks, Mitch. That's the fundamental drill, which you can work on in your own time. It's a really good drill. We were doing it today at training.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Good. Anyway, I think that's enough. I think you get the idea. Push when pull, pull when pushed. Counter the circle with a straight line. If he's a circular fighter, you cut the circle off with a straight line. If he's a straight fighter, you circle. You counter the straight line with a circle, you counter the circle with a straight line, you counter the push with a pull, you counter the pull with a push. If you want him to go down forward, push him back. Okay? If you want to take the lower half of the body, pull the top half of the body so that he overreacts and presents the bottom half of the body to you. That's it in a nutshell. Yep. Good on you. Thanks, Mitch.
After 10 years of training, we might work it out.
Yeah, we might work it out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something from it. It's great to see you. I really appreciate everybody coming in. Spread the word. That's the best thing you can do. I think I'm up to about 2.3 million. Sorry, what was I thinking? 2.3 thousand. What's a few zeros between friends? Okay. Pass the word around. Tell everybody what a fun time we're having. And if you think you learned something and you'd like to, well, I have the Patreon support channel. You're more than welcome to come and support. And for the Patreon time, I do a little bit extra as well.
And also, I know during training through the day, you've been making some recordings for the Budo Blueprint group as well.
Yes.
You're getting heaps of content for that as well. Different
the Budo Blueprint is the beginnings of my training app, and I have the 9-week program, which I had more than 50 people take part in it, and I don't think I've heard a single complaint yet. Certainly, if they're complaining, they're doing it behind my back.
There's so much in it, and it's still going.
It's still growing and going. So if you want information about that, hit me up. But if you go to my website, you'll find all this information on that as well. How quickly did I type that?
Yeah, you've done something there.
Yeah, I've done something there. All right, but anyway, guys, look forward to seeing you next week. Hope you enjoyed that. And Todd, good to see you, mate. Frederick, thanks for coming along all the way from Sweden. And Al, all the way from Maryborough. Daniel, all the way from Maitland in New South Wales. Thanks very much. Sensei Mike, Marco, Rochelle from Canada. Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you next week.